How's it going, everyone? It is Rob and Jonny. Welcome back to episode 8 of MMArcade. Rob, episode 8, man. It's crazy.
I know, mate, and we have been hitting them consistently. We haven't missed a week yet, touch wood. So we've come close, but we haven't missed one yet.
If there was going to be a week, it was this week because you and I both went to the Red 4 party, the launch party this week. I posted the photo of us to our community tab on YouTube. Did you see that?
Oh, did you? I didn't. I put one up on all my socials as well. Yeah, us at the event, and tell us how you enjoyed the event, mate.
Oh, it was good. No, it was fine. I mean, I woke up with some problems. That's fine. And you know what? No one needs to hear about that. We were at the event. We had a good time. But now we're recording episode 8, and we've got a lot to talk about.
We are. Episode 8. It's and then the comments on YouTube, the suggestions, the feedback, all positive. You guys are the fuel that keeps us going. So thank you once again to all our subscribers, and everybody that leaves a comment. One last thing on the Redfall event. The Redfall event was amazing. Yeah. It was very lively. It was good to catch up with a lot of the people there that were from the industry that we haven't seen as regularly as we would like. For myself anyway, it's like 6 months gaps for some of those guys. But they had some of the vampires walk. They had people dressed as creepy vampires, dude, and they were actually creepy. Like, they were creepy as, and like these nails, and they're just like pale walking around. Like they were off-putting.
And Rob, they were in character. Like I tried to have a conversation with one of these dudes that was walking around as I think it was the Rook, like one of the boss vampires, and he was staying in character the whole time. I'm like, all right, man, this is scary now.
The whole time, like they would just walk up to people and stand behind them quietly,
just looking at you,
just staring. I was like, yeah, they were actually creepy. And man, as you know, I'm in camp, so I'm in diet mode. Got to lose some weight, and the servers were walking around with trays of sliders and deep fried chicken wings and other hors d'oeuvres, and it was a little punishing.
Yeah, that was the problem. No, I ate too much. That's what happened, because they kept giving like these awesome pork belly and arancini balls. I couldn't stop eating. But I'm not in fight camp, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's what it was. You just ate too much. It wasn't any poison or anything. And then, the positive thing was, like, when I left, I walked across the road or whatever, and there was like this chicken place with the Lebanese guy there. And he saw me looking at the chicken in the window. I must have looked like a street urchin. I was just staring at the chicken, thinking like, whatever my calories are today, I don't know if I can afford to eat it. And he was like, he's in the window. He's like, come in, brother. And I was like, I don't think I can. And he cuts off a chicken leg and comes outside and gives it to me. Gave me a chicken. Goes, have. And I was like, no, I'm all good, dude. I'm all good. No, he's like, no, have. You don't have to buy it. Like, have, please. I was like, what are we going to do? Like, spit in his face. So I was like, thank you very much. I got the chicken leg, hopped in the cab. It's like eating a chicken leg in the back of a cab on the way home.
That is literally that Simpsons episode where he goes to the new city and he's like, I've got camouflage on a stick, no ball. The best episode 100%. Ever.
Dude, I've got to say, the chicken was delicious, but so if you're in North Sydney, there's a chicken place like near the station. I recommend it greatly, and say Rob sent you. He won't
absolutely
know,
but it was a great night.
It was, but we have a super cool return of the Triple C this weekend.
Oh, mate, there is a lot to talk about. A UFC 288. We'll be doing our predictions today of like just 2 fights on the main card, because we do have a packed show elsewhere. As always, we'll be talking about some games, news, what we're playing, watching, reading, and fan questions at the end. If you have any questions, please be sure to leave them in the comments below. And if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. We would really appreciate it. So, Rob, we are going to start off with the main event. All right. Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo. Just break it down for me, man. What do you think about this? I have all the stats and stuff in front of us, but feel free to have at it.
I've got to say, Aljamain Sterling, okay, no secret I underestimated him very much in his second fight with Young. Yep. Okay, there's no secret there. He called me out on Twitter about it.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, because I was like, he's a pretender, blah, blah, blah. I was really underselling him at that point. And let's be honest, let's agree. Piotr Jan at that point when just before he lost his title to Aljamain via that drop knee, he was the killer in the division. He was the boogeyman, dude. He was he was a scary man. So yeah, I don't know. That all played into how I thought, but then he come in and he did an amazing job and really impressed me with how good he was. Called me out on it. I said I was wrong. I'm not too big to say to call it when I'm wrong, and he's impressed me every fight since. He really has. Yeah. I think the champion. You know, some champs when they get the belt through hard yakka and through some hard fights, something changes in them, and I think he's one of them. He's a good champion, and he's been defending and fighting dudes and impressing me every single fight.
Yep. You and I were talking about this before we went live or started recording. I really do think people to this day are underestimating him, and ultimately, Rob, it is because of things out of his control. Like the first Jan fight, he didn't ask to be kneed on the ground, but it happened, and there was no other decision that could have been had that night. And then obviously he won cleanly in their second fight. And then what happened with Dillashaw? You know, obviously, like Dillashaw went into that fight seemingly with a dislocated shoulder. It popped out again multiple times during that fight. Yeah. But because of that, people were like, "Oh, he just got another easy win or whatever."
He fought an injured dude.
Yeah, but like, what else did you expect him to do in that fight? He manhandled Dillashaw and dominated him. But like, if you were in that position fighting someone with a dislocated shoulder, would you have not done the same? Would you have not fought the exact same way as Aljamain did that fight? No, you wouldn't. Right?
Yeah, it's true. His fight lineups haven't allowed him to display his true value as a fighter.
Correct.
That's through nobody's fault. Okay, I think that's through nobody's fault. It's just his fight lineups, the way they've happened, the way Dillashaw come into that fight, obviously with his shoulder problems, and then as well, like this is Dillashaw post getting popped. Yeah, like obviously he's had to come off everything. You know, like it all kind of sold itself like that. That's what that's the narrative that was written anyway. So I'm looking forward to him getting the chance to really spread his wings, to really, earn the respect he deserves. But I think it is going to be a hard task against Henry Cejudo. I really do.
It will be, man. So Cejudo coming back, obviously he vacated both titles, right? He never actually lost either of those titles, but he hasn't fought for 3 years. What does that do to a fighter, Rob, when you haven't, like, no one's doubting Cejudo's, skills, his resume on paper, and what he's achieved in the sport, but he hasn't fought in 3 years. What does that do to a fighter?
It's hard to say because, like, ring rust, right? How do you quantify ring rust? And it's something that everybody's heard of. Everybody has spoken about it. Yeah, and it's something that I get asked a lot because my last fight was in September. How are you doing things to avoid ring rust and all that stuff? I don't know though if it's real. I don't know. Like it's very hard because like there's no easy way of finding out what it really is. You can't really put numbers to it. I'm thinking maybe ring rust is something akin to, feeling the nerves a little more, like when you're all the waiting behind curtains, the weigh-in, like really the event kind of affecting you in a way that makes you, not fight as well as you would have if you weren't feeling those pressures. Yeah, because you're used to it, accustomed to it, and maybe that's it. But I do agree though that like we're fighters. Like, you lock us in that octagon, we're going to get to work. And there are certain dudes that excel under pressure, regardless of when that situation is, how long that situation's been out. And I believe, just like John Jones coming back, I believe Henry Cejudo would have to be at one of the most forefront athletes like that. He's a gold medalist, in my belief, one of the hardest sports to ever exist, you know?
So you're saying that you're favoring Cejudo. You're saying skill-wise, like I was trying to like match them up from their grappling to wrestling and even striking. On paper, it's hard to go past Cejudo in this, even though he hasn't fought for 3 years and what you said about Ring Ross. Would you say that you favor him as well?
I'll get to that at the end, okay? I'll get to that at the end. Right. These are the pros for me with Henry, okay?
All right.
Since his first loss to DJ, he went back to the drawing board and reassessed his game. He fired his staff. He devoted his entire career to just learning new skill sets that can help him do what he needs to do. And then, he had a bit of a rocky start from that. But then, like, the rate at which he got better in such a small window between fights was unbelievable. I think he would have to have one of the better evolutions of the game, because DJ is a monster, a monster of the game, like a monster of his craft. So for Henry to come back and to beat him, especially after losing to him once already, I feel like that would have to be one of the biggest evolutions in the game. And, since his fight, I've listened to a lot of his stuff. He started a lot of different podcasts and he started a lot of different YouTube analysis type stuff. And he's got a mind for it. He's got a real mind and a real knack for the game. And I can just see him, putting together a game plan that he can take advantages of Sterling's holes or opportunities, and being the athlete that he is, working those systems religiously enough to execute those come fight day. You cannot underestimate the work rate and the mentality of a gold medaling Olympic athlete.
Yeah. So what are those holes then, would you say, in Sterling's game that you just mentioned? Like what will Cejudo most likely do to take him down?
I definitely think Cejudo will be trying to push the pace, okay? I think one of the bigger advantages Sterling has would have to be reach and size.
Yeah.
Okay? And, he's quite confident in his jiu-jitsu to a certain degree, and I am too. But I think I would believe Henry would be accounting for that. I'm sure, being a born grappler, he grapples a lot as well. I think the biggest thing is going to be him closing that distance, putting pressure and pace on Sterling so that Sterling can't control the spacing, to where Henry can actually utilize his box wrestling. Yeah, and I think that's how he attacks his fight and approaches this fight.
Because it was very interesting. I was watching the Dillashaw, and it's such a shame that Dillashaw had that shoulder issue. But in that fight, Sterling was the predator. He was dominating the ground game. The way, Rob, that he was moving on the ground, like spinning around over Dillashaw, getting those positions, I was so impressed. I had to watch it a second time. It was awesome. And it is a shame that Dillashaw had that shoulder issue, because in some people's eyes, people might undersell the amazing grappling and wrestling skills that Sterling actually does have. But we're talking about Cejudo here. So this one's a tough one to call, man. I actually could go either way on it.
You're 100% right. But I guess, like, I've notoriously underestimated Aljamain Sterling time and time again. And I'm not going to change now. Henry Cejudo, I got him. I reckon Henry Cejudo gets it done.
I love how you started off saying, I underestimated him, blah, 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 but I'm still not going to choose him in this fight.
Yeah. From what I've seen of him, he would get the funniness of that anyway. But
for sure,
I don't know. More than anything else, I want to see the story continue. I want to see the Triple C come back,
True.
and win after such a long break, so we can see him and see what that does to him. Like, I don't know. My relationship with him has been funny because I really loved his entry into the sport and loved what he brought.
Yeah.
And then he got super cringe and a bit crazy, and I was a bit like, "Hey, you going?" But then I come back around full force. I'm leading the bandwagon now. I love him. Big fan of Triple C. Big fan.
I mean, the big question is, Rob, for me, what happens if Cejudo loses? Because he is coming back after so long. Yes, he vacated the title, but like, what would his next fight be? Like, he's not getting an immediate rematch or anything like that. And I'm just confused because I'm assuming in his head he's just thinking, I'm going to win this and I want to keep defending the title. Maybe Sterling gets an immediate rematch or a rematch after one win if he can win another time. But what does he do if he loses? Does he go back away? Does he retire again?
Yeah, I don't think so, because he's a bit of a boogeyman of those divisions, in that bracket down up, because he's such a powerhouse and he's willing to fight across the board in those divisions. And he's not a slouch. He's a killer. He's an absolute killer. And for someone to be able to move weight divisions like that at will and to be such a presence in every one of those divisions, I don't think he has a problem finding fights. He even mentioned that he wants to fight like O'Malley and things like tune-up fights to try and work his way up to Volkanovski, and so he has the mentality of like fighting Piotr Jan or fighting O'Malley, like just for tune-up fights. He just doesn't want to jump into title shots. He wants to tune himself up to beat these guys. And I think that's a terrific mentality to have. And it's just another tick in his in the boxes that it says he's the superstar athlete that he is.
That's not a bad shout, to be honest. Like, he could just change weight classes like he used to do to stay active and to keep fighting and probably win another championship. Oh man, it's going to be so fun to see. I'm genuinely excited. I am backing Sterling
for having him here.
Oh, for sure. Why did you were talking to him was it on Fox, Rob? Did he mention I can't remember the reason why he retired in the first place? He just lost love of the sport. Was that it?
I think he alluded to something like that. Not love of the sport. He's just like, he didn't know what else to do. He had done it all, he said.
Yeah, okay.
And which is, to his credit, he did.
He had.
Olympic gold medal, the flyweight belt, bantamweight belt.
Bantamweight, yeah.
Like, simultaneously, what do you do next?
It's true. You keep defending. That's what you do.
That's it.
I mean, it's funny because like literally John Jones I saw is having very similar thoughts, because he's like, I will just retire after the Stipe fight because who else is there to fight? I will still say, John, you still need to fight Pavlovich, but then retire after that.
And you know what's funny with that? Like, everyone just wants to watch him fight Boogeyman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fight these one-hit wonder knockout artists like
stop
Nagano
the hype
and stuff
train.
like that. Back in the day.
I hope, as a side note, I don't know what Ngannou is doing. Like, I'm hearing he went to one, didn't get an agreement. He went to bare knuckle, didn't get an agreement. Just come back. Ngannou, come back.
Did you hear? I heard he can't come back. I'm pretty sure Dana White said he'll never fight in this industry.
Well, Dana said that a million times, Rob, and then things change. Things change.
I don't know, but I heard one offered him $20 million. And he said, like, guaranteed 20 mil, and he said no.
No.
Because he wanted like a board, a chair on the board.
No. Wait.
Yeah.
Like, it's not 20 million for one fight. I'm assuming over the course of a contract.
I don't know. And then how the guaranteed works, I got no idea. But that's crazy. Like, and every day he's not champion, which has been a while now, his value is just going down. He's a depreciating stock.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Just work it out. Dana and Ngannou, work it out. We all want to see him fight John Jones. That is the money fight after Stipe for sure. But going back to UFC 288, you are saying Cejudo over Sterling.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Like,
all right, I'll say Sterling.
Why break habits now?
All right. Rob is going with Cejudo. I'm going with Sterling. But the next fight, did you just play that? You just strummed the guitar?
No, I didn't.
I heard that. The next fight that we have is Belal Muhammad against Gilbert Burns. So these two are absolutely saving this card because we know Oliveira was meant to fight. He got injured. So they're pushed back, I think, a couple of months. I can't remember which event they're at now. But in their place, we have Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. It's a really interesting fight. I'm very excited. Like, we literally just saw Burns fight very recently, a month ago or something. And now he's back in the ring. So kudos to him especially. But Rob, what do you think about this matchup?
Mate, yeah, I think this is a great matchup for Gilbert Burns. I think all the chips are stacked in his favor for this fight. And, for someone who is hunting the title, for someone who is worried about other contenders getting in line ahead of him, he's doing the right thing, which is to proactively seek them out and beat them first. And you can't fault his mentality. He's been so active lately. I mean, this will be his third fight this year. He fought 3 weeks ago. But, and he fought 3 weeks ago, and Belal Muhammad only found out about the fight 3 weeks ago. So, like, this is like, and Gilbert, I don't know how banged up he was after that fight with Masvidal, but from my viewing, he beat up Masvidal. Like, he did a really good showing on that fight. So I don't see him taking. I didn't see him taking heaps of damage. Though you can never sell, like, kicking bones and legs and hands and everything hurts.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a few bruises and stuff that he's nursing over. But, like, I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask you. Belal not fighting since October of last year. Burns only. You said twice this year, and he already fought 3 or 4 weeks ago. So, like, is there any advantage that's given to Muhammad on that or not?
I can't see any. No. I think the big thing will be, like, finding out the fight was 3 weeks ago. Like, finding out the fight about the fight 3 weeks ago. Like, mate, Gilbert was fight fit ready.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. Fought. He's like leveled up. He's wired to the scene right now, and he could just dial it back and just keep his fitness, no contact stuff for another 3 weeks, and he'd float all his fitness over to the next fight. Yeah, and probably be better for it because his nervous system would have spiked, which increases all the responses in his body. Yeah. And then he's just tapering off for it to spike again. Whereas Belal, he's having the crash course of his life right now. Unless he was preparing for a camp somehow before that. But, like, from my personal experience, this is how I do it. You stay ready. So since September last year when I fought, I've been staying ready. Obviously, I was in camp for February, and then that fell through, and then I've been like, what is it? Simmering. I've been simmering.
Simmer. That's a good word.
Yeah. Trying for the next fight lineup, for the next lead on a fight. Yep. And it's not the same as in camp. Yeah, I'm fit, right? I'm super fit because I've been training so much and I'm learning new skills, but you can't, it's not camp intensity, because camp intensity needs to take you fitter than fit. Needs to take you sharper than sharp, and you can't sustain that output for long. Otherwise, your body starts breaking down, because you're pushing too hard for too long. And generally, there's a calorie deficit there because you're trying to lose weight as well. So it's different. It's different. All I'm saying is that Gilbert Burns is fight fit. Belal found out about the fight 3 weeks ago. Gilbert Burns has set up every chip and loaded every die to getting that next title shot through Belal Muhammad.
But I will say for Belal, he is absolutely taking this fight because otherwise, do you know how the whole thing about Covington was a backup fighter, and then Dana was kind of like, "Oh, look, he was a backup fighter. We're definitely going to give him the title shot." Right?
It was like a reveal show. They're like, look who's here. It's.
But here's the thing: Belal is absolutely doing this to gain favor because like he's like, look, I'm going to save this pay-per-view. I'm going to help out, even though I'm only finding out 3 weeks before or whatever it is. I'm doing this, and if I win, I get the title shot. And I know it's not confirmed, but you have to say the winner of this, fights the winner of Edwards and Covington, right?
Has to, surely.
Has to.
But in saying that, I can see them stooging over Belal again.
They can't.
I can see Belal winning, and then somehow they stuff him. He's not a favorite for whatever reason. I think he's a phenomenal fighter, but
he is. He absolutely is. No, I reckon because of Dana can't they can't say no to him if he was to win this fight. But as you said, on paper, Burns is definitely the favorite, and he's more fighting fit, unless he has picked up some sort of injury magically from that Masvidal fight. But as you said, he won that pretty cleanly. So you're saying definitely Burns over Belal.
I would say Gilbert Burns would have to be a heavy favorite going to this next fight.
Yeah.
The only way that it wouldn't be is if Belal Muhammad comes in there and just vastly outperforms Gilbert Burns. But I find it so hard.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. Not with the way Gilbert Burns has been performing lately. Yeah. And regularly.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. UFC 288 is going to be this weekend. And next up, we're going to be talking about some games news. So there's been a lot happening this week, especially in the Xbox landscape. And recently, Xbox, we all knew that they were going to have a showcase at around that, pseudo E3 time. E3 is not a thing, but it's going to happen in June. And they announced the timing for their upcoming showcase. So June 11, 10 a.m. Pacific time, or June 12 at 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. They're going to be having their Xbox Direct, followed by the Starfield Direct after that. So specifically for Starfield, it's of course going to be their biggest title, I'm assuming, at that show. Tons of new gameplay, developer interviews, behind the scenes, insider information is the words that they used. And there's also going to be an extended showcase later in the week. Some random speculation from others on the internet have suggested we could see Avowed, Fable, Forza, Scorn, maybe DLC for Halo, some Hellblade 2, some Stalker 2. We've got some potentially very exciting titles coming up at that show. Starfield, of course, being the main one. Rob, what do you think? What do you think about this upcoming show with Xbox?
Mate, Starfield is the MVP for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Anybody and everybody is going to be tuning in just to see that because that is the next big Bethesda title. Big open world, base building, explore your own adventure, choose your own adventure, blockbuster title. And it's so left field on what normal genres we have in that category of game. So everyone's going to be tuning into that. It's going to be monstrous.
The thing about Starfield that really excites me is that like how many space games in that genre do you really have? I mean, you had Mass Effect in the past, Andromeda didn't hit people's expectations. I mean, a lot of people are banking on Starfield on being that big open world RPG space game that's going to knock it out of the park. And I tweeted out this, it was a few months ago. I said that the fact that people are still screaming and wanting Elder Scrolls 6, to me, proves that BGS does these kinds of games better than anyone else. They create such unique open world RPGs. That's why it's getting its own segment. It could just be part of the regular Xbox show, but it's getting its own direct. It is going to be their mainstay title for this year. I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait for Starfield.
Mate,
but what do you think about these other games as well? Have you played Fable? I take you for a Fable fan.
Mate, let me tell you, let me take you back to 2004 or wherever the first Fable game came out. I was hooked.
Yeah.
I really like Fable. I didn't like any of the sequential Fable titles. Okay, that Fable, that first Fable game was awesome. When you were just an unnamed hero going about your business, you rob people, romance people, buy houses, level up, punch on with people. It was just kick chickens. It was so much fun, and the story was actually very well done. It was such a unique game because there was such. It's so dark, but at the same time so whimsical. That it's just a weird thing to the point where I actually played Fable. I think last year, maybe or the year before. I ran it back. Yeah, I can find out. Yeah, it was when I fought Gaslam, so it was either the year before that. Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't age as well. I played the remake. It doesn't age as well as you'd think, but it was still fun. I got a good kick out of it. Did you ever play Fable? Man.
I honestly, surprisingly, I've never played Fable, and it's one game that would absolutely be up my alley. It's on my to-do list, it's on my bucket list. But the thing about like aging well, so I've just pulled up this article. So apparently Fable 4 is actually using the same engine as Forza Motorsport. That is awesome. Like if that is true, Forza games look incredible. That Fable games look incredible. And imagine, Rob, if you had Starfield, Fable 4, Avowed. That's a stellar lineup of RPGs. Like if they can all hit home and they come out in maybe in the next year or two, because we don't know when Fable is coming out, we don't know when Avowed is coming out. Those are going to be some stellar titles, some stellar RPGs for Xbox.
Yeah, I'll get plenty of time out of that. I'm a religious one game at a time person, so I'm playing one game at a time. I can't play any other games, which is good and bad because I can't play multiple games, but it's good though that I have like a checklist. So I'll play the hell out of this game until the next one comes on. But let's be honest though, when Starfield drops, there's no other game.
There is no other game. No,
there's no other game. There's nothing because you're just going to be playing that game and then remaking your game character, re-rolling your character, trying new things, playing evil, playing good, doing this instead of that build. Like, well, that's how I play anyway. So,
for sure, and it seems like because like they have traits in Starfield based on some of the trailers. They have like such a deep skill system and RPG system. I guess kind of harkening back to Fallout New Vegas in a sense. You're going to be able to, it seems like, replay this game and be a completely different person on every new playthrough. My entire on my other channel is going to be dedicated to Starfield for like the next year, 2 years, 3 years at least.
Yeah, I'm excited. I cannot wait.
Yeah, so let's see what Xbox has to offer when it comes to their Direct this June, as I said, June 11 or June 12 if you're in Australia. But moving on, Rob, I brought this one up because we were talking about Street Fighter the other day. How much have you seen of the previews of Street Fighter 6?
Nothing. I've seen absolutely nothing.
I'm telling you, and it looks awesome. Like Street Fighter 6 genuinely looks like it's going to be like the next big fighting game. And obviously it's Street Fighter. It's going to do that. But if you actually look at the art style, you look at the mechanics, even the new story mode that they have. Do you remember how we were talking about that Mortal Kombat game with Shujinko in Mortal Kombat Deception where you went around? Yeah. So it's like they have a story mode like that. Yeah, you went around, you picked up other fighters' abilities and stuff, you leveled up. They have that exact same thing, but in Street Fighter 6. Isn't that awesome?
Wow. Is Street Fighter your favorite fighting game?
Oh, no. Look, it's back and forth between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. I would say this. I'm better at Street Fighter, but I adore like the lore and the story and the history of Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? Okay. Like whenever there's a new Mortal Kombat that comes out, obviously I'll buy the game and play the game, but I'll go on YouTube and they'll stitch together all the storyline cutscenes. I love that shit, man. I love it so damn much. It's so fascinating to me.
I don't know. Lore and fighting games never resonated with me.
Oh, come on, Rob. Come on.
You just want to punch on. There is one fighting game that I actually got into the lore. Well, besides Dragon Ball Z, because you watched the show, right? It doesn't count. And that was Tekken 3.
Yeah,
Tekken 3. And that's when like the first intro cutscene was like Heihachi throwing Jin out of the helicopter into the volcano.
Yeah.
Like it was just, I don't know, it was so cool. You know what? That's the only thing I remember of the lore. I don't remember shit else.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's because fighters like, you know, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, they're a product of their time where they were on arcade machines and you didn't really have the capacity or the ability to build in a story into it. It was just about fighting. You put in your coins and you fought. So they were kind of built out of that. And I guess trying to always play catch up to integrate a story. But I will say, I think Mortal Kombat has smashed it in that regard. Hell, I love Street Fighter's lore and story. Honestly, search up some videos, man. Listen to it. I think it's fascinating.
What was your favorite Street Fighter game? Because you see, I fell off Street Fighter when it started getting all the super moves that didn't require inputs, just it required your gauge to be pulled in and you pressed a singular button. Yeah. I fell off away from it when that happened. But
like during the Alpha series, like that sounds like
when all that sort of started happening. Because my favorite like fighting game, bar probably Super Smash Bros, is Street Fighter versus SNK 2.
Did I ever play that? I got to look at gameplay because there's so many fighting games you don't know versus SNK 2.
I just loved how clean it was. It was the fighting felt so clean and responsive, man. Like
hell yeah, I used to play that a lot.
It was a treat to play.
I will say my fighting game that's my favorite is the classic Street Fighter 2 for sure. And like they had like Championship Edition and Ultimate Edition. They had a few different editions that a lot of them just like kind of like made the game faster. But Street Fighter 2, in my eyes, is the best fighting game of all time.
I've heard that a lot from a bunch of different people. I think that's like a favorite, you know, like a fan favorite, because I've heard it several times from other people as well. But
it's because like any time even when the Switch first came out and they were like, well, what old Street Fighter games are we going to bring back? It's always Street Fighter 2 that gets ported to everything because people love it so much. I could pick it up today and have a blast just going to the campaign mode. You go into old arcades, you'll still see Street Fighter 2 arcade machines. It is the pinnacle of fighting, honestly. But I would still say Mortal Kombat's my favorite.
We got to set up that fight, that on-air fight. I am so keen for it.
All right, Rob. Okay, so like we've been talking about recently about like what we do with the channel, the next steps of where we go. As we've said, when the channel is big enough to support other kinds of videos, we will do other kinds of videos. I mean, when Street Fighter 6 comes out, it's not a bad shout. We could be doing some live streams, Street Fighter 6. We could do that. What do you reckon of that idea?
Maybe. I am down. I am down to do that. So if when it releases, I reckon we maybe tee it up and we finally settle our differences.
But you know what the problem is though, and you're going to be disappointed with this. Akuma has not been revealed for that game.
What do you mean?
I'm just telling you. It's been Ryu and Ken, and there's a few other like favorites and mainstay characters coming back. Like Cammy is coming back. She looks freaking awesome, but no Akuma.
She could have stayed away.
No, she's like, she looks really good. Like sick. Yeah. Even what's his name? Zangief as well looks really good. He's more of a wrestler
Zangief's
now.
All right.
But he's changed his fight style now. I think you'll like it.
What do you mean he changed his fight style? So
like before, like it was always kind of like a wrestler, but it's like really doubling down on the fact that he's a wrestler now in this game. So his move style is less of a grappler. Like it's you have to kind of look at the gameplay, but he looks awesome. He looks even better than before, I reckon. But no Akuma. Okay. So I don't know who you're going to pick. You could pick Ryu.
Ryu's always my second. Yeah. Ryu's always my second.
This is going to be it. Ryu versus Ken. Who's the best?
Yeah, that's it. And we're going to settle this long 8-episode debate. 8 episode of debate of who is the true Street Fighter king, and no practicing.
Well, it's a new game. All right, I'm gonna email. I'm gonna clip this part from our podcast. I'll email the person that I know that handles all the Street Fighter stuff in Australia. We'll get 2 codes, and maybe if we can get some early coverage. You know what? I want to ask. Let's see what we can do. But yeah, Street Fighter 6 comes out 2nd of June 2023, and it's looking freaking awesome. But now we're up to the what we're watching / playing / reading section. Rob, you can take this one first. What have you been doing this week?
Watching, playing, reading. Okay, so a game that just came out 2 days ago, if my dates line up, is Age of Wonders 4. Have you seen it?
I've actually seen some gameplay from it. I have.
Okay.
For once, one game that you mentioned that I actually know.
Yeah. So I've been pumped on Age of Wonders 4. If you like games like Civilization or Stellaris or any of those 4X games, which is like tactical strategy, you got to build your armies up, build your cities up, diplomacy, blah blah blah, trade, all that good business.
Yep.
This is like Civ 5. If you've ever played Civ 5, I like Civ 5 more than Civ 6. I don't really like Civ 6 that much. Civ 5, this is like fantasy Civ 5, but it has the Stellaris race creator. So you can create your own race and ruler. And then you go into the world map. It's very high fantasy. You go into the world map and you play Civ 5 essentially. But it's also got but with like fantasy races and the race that you've designed and created, you don't have to play as Australia or the United States or whatever. Right. And it's also got this like XCOM-esque type of battle system when you actually go to beat armies. It's got an auto-resolve system, but when the two armies clash, it zooms in and you've got like your different squads that you've got part of your army, and it's got like an XCOM turn-based style of gameplay, and each unit has their abilities and their strengths, and you can cast magic and everything. And I feel like the heroes are like, I really do feel like Age of Wonders have taken probably some of the best aspects of a lot of different types of games. It's taken the aspect, like I see a lot of hero similarities between the heroes of Age of Wonders 4 and I don't know if you ever played Warhammer. What is it? Yep. Warhammer Total War. Yep. Like that. It's taken a lot of the ability systems, I believe, and simplified down version of heroes from that. It's got the unit controls of like XCOM. It's got the main campaign screen of like Civ 5. There's diplomacy. There's warfare. There's, I don't know, lots of magic and stuff like that. It's actually a really fun 4X game if you like 4X games. I haven't had too much time to be able to play on it. Yeah, but I've been spending a fair whack of time playing it. It's I will say there's some crashing now and then. Yeah. I don't think they've fully optimized it for certain graphics cards and like outdated ones. I just updated my graphics cards then, so maybe it won't happen to me anymore, but was getting some crashes beforehand. But
did you get a new graphics card? You got a new one?
No, not a new one. I just had to update them. I assumed they were out of date. It kept crashing on me.
Oh, you mean like the drivers themselves? Like you didn't get a new card? Well, right.
It just kept saying like driver error, and it would shut down.
Makes sense.
But yeah, Age of Wonders 4. That's what I've been playing lately.
Sweet, man. Watching
yourself?
Anything in particular? All right. So playing. All right. I actually have made a decent dent in God of War Ragnarok. I'm on the last mission. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you know what happened, Rob? Like I don't know if you've ever done this in a game, but like I really do like God of War Ragnarok. I think it's a fun game, beautiful game. The storytelling is freaking awesome. The one thing about it is like initially I was doing all the side quests, clearing everything on a map. But because of the way that it was built, you're in the same map and there are certain areas that you can't access. You have to backtrack later on in the game and go back to get that chest that you couldn't get, or fight the enemies in the tear that you couldn't because you couldn't access that location. So because of that, I'm like, well, I'm just going to come back eventually. I kept letting them go and not really searching every area as I probably should. So then I just was like, well, now I've missed so many things. I'm just going to push through the main story. So I ended up doing that last night. And I got a bunch of missions done. So I'm literally up right into the end where it's spoiler alert, Ragnarok. It's a great game, honestly, man. But it's been taking me forever to finish.
You know, a game similar to that, like I had this problem was Dragon Age or Inquisition.
Origins or Inquisition? Yeah.
No, Inquisition. Yeah, like there are so many fetch quests and crappy side quests, and I didn't want to miss them. Like I didn't want to go through the game because some of the side quests actually have implications to the main story later down the track. Yeah. But so I did all of them, and I just got so burnt out, like looking for 13 bushes or freaking killing 20 of these monsters, like so burnt out.
I feel like when it comes to games like, I don't know, like Skyrim or Fallout, like you like out of necessity, you kind of let stuff pass you by because you can come back to it because it's open world. But with God of War Ragnarok, it's not quite like that. It's like, the characters will tell you in between story chapters, oh, do you want to go explore a little bit more or go to the main quest? It's like you're being pushed down to go down the main quest, and every now and again you're asked if you want to go do some side stuff. And I don't know whether that quite gels with me. You know what I mean? I like the ability just to do what I want when I want. So it's different in a Fallout game. It's different in the Skyrim game, where if you want to do the main quest, you can do the main quest. If you want to do a side quest, you can do a side quest. You're not being pushed down any one route. And maybe that's the reason why, Ragnarok in that sense hasn't really gelled with me. But the one thing that I really wish was different, I hate backtracking in a game. Like I hate going back to old areas just because I have a new weapon that allows me to gain access to new areas. I wish they would have done that in a little different way, because now I had missed so much, and I'm like, well, what's the point of me going back and completing all that side stuff when I finish the main story? That's it. Like the story is over. Yeah. I don't know. It just that's not working for me. But other than that, I love the game.
True freedom, true open world. It's like a lot of these games say they're open world, but there are rails. Yeah. Or they're like choose your corridor type open world. Whereas games like Fallout games, the Elder Scrolls games, then that's what they're known for. You can break the game. Like I remember playing Morrowind and like finding some bullcrap weapon and going in and killing Lord Vivek before I had started the main quest. Like, and albeit it said you have broken the timeline, restart or whatever. You don't have to restart, but it gives you a big warning if you don't. But I just loved the ability to be able to the freedom to do that, and I think Elden Ring does a good job of that as well, because you can go out and fight just about anybody, just about any boss in the game, bar the ones that are locked behind other bosses, and there's no rails or tracks put on there. It's just like a big playground.
Within reason, though, like I've had my fair share of Elden Ring time, and there are certain areas that you can't really go earlier on in the game unless you're freaking awesome at the game, right? Like there are certain enemies in certain regions that will just dominate you unless you have the proper equipment.
Nah, dude. You know that's what I love about the game, dude. You can because I've spent a lot of time Elden Ring. Elden Ring, like the Dark Souls universe is a big passion of mine. I like it a lot, and I make it a goal of making new characters and then bum rushing to the end dudes that'll absolutely destroy you, but the risk is worth it because there are some items or some spells things here that you can't, that when you get them, you'll go back to the first boss and sneeze on him and he'll die. You know what I mean? I love that. Yeah. And bro, there are guys that play Elden Ring with no rolling, no crawling, punching only, and they finish the game.
We talked about it. Yeah.
If those dudes can do it, and that's what I always think when I'm having a hard time, if those dudes can do no roll, no jump, no weapons, no upgrades, no magic, you can get through the game somehow. Like, work it out.
You'll figure out a way. Keep dying over and over again, and then you'll figure out the pattern.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we watching? Did you take up the suggestion and watch the anime?
Have the time. I'm sorry, Rob. I will do it this week.
I can barely remember what I told you to watch.
Prison School? Prison School.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a funny one, dude. It's funny. It's a funny one.
I promise you, I will watch it like for the next episode.
It's all right.
I just didn't get the time, unfortunately.
Or you can watch Gate. Gate's good too. Really,
I just
like
can't
Gate.
find where to watch Gate. It's not on Crunchyroll, so I get I don't know. I'm not the guy that likes to pirate. If you can give it to me on Crunchyroll or Funimation.
Have you watched Steins Gate? That's another good one.
No, I haven't watched Steins Gate.
I think that's on Netflix, maybe.
Yeah, Netflix has a decent amount of
there's
anime.
some anime on Netflix. Like
Yeah.
I think Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood might be on it. Have you watched that?
No, and that is on my list. Like, I need to watch Full Metal Alchemist for sure.
Yeah. I think maybe Alice in Borderland might be on there as well.
Yeah.
Seven Deadly Sins, they're not bad.
Did you ever watch Bucky on Netflix?
I did. I saw someone in our comments bring it up, like watch it. That's so stupid.
It is such a strange, like, Rob, I didn't get it. And then I started really liking it. And then it lost me. I think it was in the second season because it completely changed the style of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of Bucky. Yeah. Like, it's good. But,
you know what? You know when I dropped Bucky was when he flexed his back and a face of the demon appeared. Yeah. And they were like, oh, it's a sign. And I was like, oh, get stuffed. I'm out of here.
But that's why it was so stupid. But like, there were some fights in there that I enjoyed, but I didn't like the whole, and maybe some spoilers, but he got like really skinny and he couldn't fight properly. It just lost me. So I stopped watching it after that. And I was really hooked. But
no, well, I didn't like them. I watched a big chunk of it, and I saw people also saying like, watch Hajime no Ippo. I don't want to watch. I don't like sports animes that much. I found it very hard to get into because like they're doing something that we do. Like people do that stuff in real life. I want to watch anime to see dragons and magic and bullshit.
I will say, like I've talked to you about this before, but during the World Cup when Blue Lock had just come out and the episodes were releasing, I know it's soccer, it's football, whatever, but I think they do enough to keep it interesting in terms of the storytelling and the art. And just the way that they pace the games, and even just like it's not just like regular soccer games. Like they're in this academy, and they have certain challenges that they need to do to get to the next level. It's really interesting. If there's one sports anime that you should watch and give it a good chance, it is Blue Lock for sure.
No.
Come on, Rob, just do it. I'm telling you.
I bet you there's better ones than Blue Lock as well. Like what's that volleyball one?
Don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
There's another soccer one called Aowashi, I think. Yeah, there's another soccer one. I don't know what the volleyball one. Anime volleyball.
Like that was
Haikyuu?
Yeah, that one. That was really well done. Like really well done.
There you go.
And it made me start watching volleyball for a little bit. It's cool. But again, it's still just a sport, dude. Like when you can go into the realm of Bleach, man, and watch Shinigami and fight people with powers.
Bleach is so good.
Dude, so good. Like you watch that or what? What did you say? Blue score?
Blue Lock. I'm telling you, bro. No, Blue Lock is good. I would defend that to the death, but I can understand your reservation,
bro. Like, man, so many good anime out there. So many good anime out there.
But are you reading anything, by the way? That's all right.
I am. What is it? It's called The Good Guys. I'm up to book 15.
Nice.
It's a lit RPG adventure type book. I don't know if you've ever heard of lit RPGs.
No.
They're like game worlds, but in book form. So like all the guys you're reading about, they have stats and things like that, and there are items and inventories generally. And I don't know, it's a really cool book.
Man.
The main guy has like stupid strength. But he's just a normal dude, and he's impulsive and rash, and he's not the smartest guy either. So every conflict can be solved by just applying more strength or power or hitting it harder. And
you literally sound like you're talking about One Punch Man to me. That's what this book sounds like.
Not quite, because he has hardships.
Okay.
There are hardships, but a lot of them. But yeah, I just like the single dimension where the guy, they just doubled down on this dude just being like a bit of a redneck and just punching stuff. It's refreshing, because every fantasy book you read is about a wizard that is like cool and elegant and smart, and he's got this or he's got that. Whereas this guy, he's got zero magic, and but he's really effing strong and tough. That's it.
No, fair
that's
enough.
All I've been reading lately.
Cool. I wanted to give a shout out as well. There was someone in the comments, K1 Holskin, suggested that you can throw in some movie reviews or movies that you're watching in this section as well. And I kind of like that, because I watch movies a lot. I'm watching this weekend, Rob, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Very excited about that. Because
that'll be cool.
Are you a big Marvel fan at all or not?
I am, depending on the hero. I like certain heroes, but I liked Guardians of the Galaxy too. I like all those guys. I reckon Chris Pratt plays that role so well.
Yeah,
and they're a fun. Movies. They're a fun little clique. I'd be interested to watch it.
Yeah, well, I'm watching the new one. I think Saturday or Sunday this week, so I'm pretty keen. I'll talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah. You know what I want to watch. The thing is, I can't review movies that much because I don't watch any.
Fair.
If any. But one that I'm actually really keen to rewatch is Man of Steel. I want to rewatch that.
Why Man of Steel?
Because Superman is so cool, dude.
He is.
My relationship with Superman has been tumultuous at best. I hated him when I was a kid. Hated him because he was just too good at everything and too strong. And I wanted an edge. I wanted to find someone that not everybody else liked. And for years that went on until, I don't know, probably when I was well into my adulthood. Yeah. And now I love Superman. I love him. He is too strong. He is the best. He is so good. And I just love it, dude. Superman is literally the best. He's so good. And I'll go into Reddit dives of who would win, Superman or the Hulk? Who's stronger, Superman or the
Superman?
Flash?
All the time, dude. In every one of those debates.
Nah, not the Flash one. I like the Flash as well. I think the Flash.
Hold on. You think the Flash beats Superman?
Depends. I've gone down this rabbit hole pretty heavy, and
come on, man.
The Flash has an ability, dude, where he can take your kinetic energy away from you.
Right.
I don't think, and let alone the Flash can literally destroy things at a molecular level.
I don't know.
But
I think the problem is with comic books is that in every new edition or every new comic book, they'll mention this random ability that this superhero has. You start comparing them like that, and I'm not knowledgeable enough to pull it out for Superman. But I will say, based on what you were saying before, I reckon a big reason why you like Superman so much is because Henry Cavill is so good as Superman. And I'm so sad he's not going to be Superman anymore. I'm gutted.
I still don't rate him in The Witcher.
Come on, Rob. Nah,
it's not him. It's not him. It's just the Witcher universe is so hard to put into real life, into real viewing. And it's not him at all. I do like him in Man of Steel. I do like him in the role. I like him as an actor. But the Witcher universe is one that's really hard to bring to life.
You're right.
I don't think the Flash beats Superman, but I think you could put him to a standstill at the very least if both were, I don't know, relatively strong. But Superman can't be killed. I think I'm 90% sure he's immortal. He just goes asleep if he's locked in a dark place forever.
And he can just turn back time, fly around the earth and turn back time. It's so overpowered.
But they all are though. The Flash can leave time, like period.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. But oh yeah, one of the commenters in the chat said if I've read any of like Sanderson's books or Brent Weeks, and the answer to that is yes for both. I've read most of them.
Nice.
But I think Sanderson did like the Mistborn books, if I'm not mistaken, and I think Brent Weeks did like the Prism books. And I didn't actually finish the Prism because if there's too long of a break between books, I forget what happened in the previous one, but I refuse to reread it. And that's kind of where it stops for me.
Fair enough. Well, we're at the end of that segment. So now let's move on to the final segment of the podcast, fan questions. Again, if you ever do have a question that you want to ask us, let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. But first up, we have Naibi asking, question for Rob. What is your favorite place that you have traveled to for a fight?
They're all so good because they're all so different, and they've all been like journeys of themselves. Like Vegas, the many cities in the States, been to China, different things. But I think my favorite would have to be France, Paris. Last fight, just because like I took my wife and I took my youngest at the time, and they made that trip a little bit extra special for me.
Oh, that's awesome, man. All right. Well, next question that we have is from Alex. Love the content, lads. Question, are there any plans in the future to get a guest on the podcast? We've talked about this, Rob. Who should be our first guest? I'm curious.
Oh, I don't know. And obviously this is all pending. Like we were still building the foundation of our episode, of our podcast. we're still building the foundation of our podcast, letting the roots grow and get a little deep. But we're not 100% sure whether we would incorporate it into this podcast or if we would bring out like guest episodes per se.
Yeah, like a separate video interview style thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which would be more dedicated on. Yeah, we'd be more dedicated on just trying to pull all the every little grain of information out of our guests.
Yeah.
More so than
in that way as
anime.
well. Yeah, no, but that's the thing, right? Like if we were to try and get a guest on the regular episodes, you kind of need someone that can talk about all the stuff that we talk about. So if we have separate dedicated video interviews or like mini casts or whatever with people, we can dedicate the subject to that person. Guest-isodes. Love it. That's the name from now on. Yeah, it's stuck. It's in writing. But yeah, like let's say hypothetically we got someone who was an actor. You can talk about them specifically and their acting career. You got someone that was a fighter, talk about their career and their fighting and all that kind of stuff. Get someone that's in video games, same story. So I actually really like that idea, Rob. I reckon we should, once the channel's built, we should look towards that.
Yeah, definitely. Once we've got our roots nice and deep. Someone also mentioned one of the questions, and this is living proof that I read the comments. Told me about my backdrop. Like Johnny's got all the orange and then like when am I going to get some blue neon lights for my background? Brother, it took me ages to just drag the shelf over here. There is no way I'm going to be able to set up neon lights. I don't even know how he does his and why.
I can tell you.
And the way it looks
hold
the way
on.
It does.
There are people here watching.
I dragged a shelf there. I put the guitar there. What do you want from me? Okay.
Rob, not only do I have the lights here, but I can also change colors if I want to as well on the fly. Let's say I want, I don't know, pick a color, Rob. Do you have a favorite color? Pick a color.
Yeah, I do. White.
Oh, white's boring, man. But I'm gonna. Wait, is this so I can match your background? Is this so? Hold on. Ready?
That's better.
I'm the same.
Yeah, dude. Like, yeah.
Or blue.
They don't realize I actually do have lights. They're just set to white. I've seen you with blue before.
Well, this is my channel on my main channel. This is the color that I usually go with, like a light blue. But I can go purple. I can go whatever. So you know what, Rob? We're gonna set you up with some Philips Hue lights. That's what we're gonna do. All right.
All right.
How's that sound?
All right. I'll need you to help come over and set them up.
I can do that. I can do that. So we will set that up. But the next question that we have is from Croak, another one for Rob. Rob, have you ever trained with Volkanovski?
I have. It was back when I was a welterweight, way back. I think before he was even in the UFC. We sparred, I think, at TP Gym, which is once, but that was many years ago. And nowadays, no, not really. No, not at all. Sorry, because one, we're very different weight divisions, so there's that hurdle. And there's a fair significant gap between our weight divisions. And two, he's like good friends with the team at City Kickboxing and the coaches there. So obviously there's that bit of obstacle there as well. Yeah,
fair enough. The next question that we have, this was actually directed towards me. Master Mirage asked, because you know how we talked about like how you and I met, I used to work at Bethesda, was asking, how would I get into the community management scene? And honestly, the best advice that I have for you, man, is create a YouTube channel, create a podcast, show the skills that you need to show to an employer that you can build a community, that you can foster a community. And that is the best thing that you can do. But at the same time, still make sure if you can study, get a degree. The way that I got a job at Bethesda was I had my Lone Vault Wanderer YouTube channel and I focused a lot on Bethesda content and Fallout content. That showed I could actually get the job done day to day. But they also looked at the fact that I had a few degrees and that, I had different other jobs in a corporate scene. So any kind of experience is good, but you do need to try and build your own community. I think that's the best way to show to an employer that you actually have the chops for the job. So that's what I'll say to that question. But last question, Rob, from Spartan Cosmo. What is the biggest holy shit moment in MMA for either of you? The moment that just made you go, wow. I have my answer there. I wrote it down so I would remember it.
Yeah. Well, I think mine was when Bisping knocked out Luke Rockhold.
Good shout.
That was kind of, I don't know, that was pretty big. That was pretty big because I was obviously in the mix at that time, and because Rockhold had already dismantled Bisping. So and Bisping was late notice. Rockhold at the time was untouchable in that division. I don't know. That's one that's standing out. I'm sure there's been bigger ones, but that was a big one for me.
For sure. For me, it is Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo. That was just that left hook. It was insane. Everyone lost it. And you talk about fighting moments that are on highlight reels constantly. That's one which you see all the freaking time. And it might not be like in terms of like getting a championship or whatever, like not the biggest moment per se, but it's the one that sticks in my mind because it was just everyone lost their shit. It was absolutely crazy. But then like I always a big fan of Brock Lesnar in UFC as well. I always liked his second fight against Frank Mir and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I would say for the answer. But Rob, we are at the end. Oh, sorry, you were saying something.
No, we're at the end.
Episode 8 of MMA Arcade. No, it's been good, man.
MMArcade.
MMArcade. I feel like we're getting better at these week to week.
We are. We're just really sitting into it. I think everyone would have seen that I'm quite tired today. I saw a lot of people commenting saying, Rob, if you wanted a break so you could focus on your camp. And I appreciate that, but it really isn't hard for me to do these episodes because like, I think the more we do them, the more relaxed we become doing them. Obviously we get a lot of feedback and suggestions from you guys, which just fuel the content of the show. And it's really easy. I like seeing you guys hanging out for the episode, and I want to give that to you guys. It's only an hour a week. We got this.
That's it. No. Like we're going to make sure to be committed. Like I'm sure there will be times, and I think there already is going to be a time for me because I'm going on a holiday. There will be times where we will need to miss out on episodes, but we're always going to communicate that well in advance so everyone knows, and then you'll know when we're coming back. But for now, we're remaining consistent. Going on to episode 10. I'm excited.
We are. Oh, I can't wait. Is there like something special that happens at episode 10? So I know you said that at episode 7, like most podcasts don't get past that. So Correct. What does that mean for us? Is that
I'm going to pull up the specific stat because it's actually podcast episode 7 fail. It's actually a specific thing that like 90% or something, like a really ridiculous large number of podcasts actually fail beyond a certain point. I can't find it now, but I will find it eventually. But episode 10, it just sounds nice. It just sounds nice. And we're getting closer to 10,000 subscribers too on YouTube.
I know, that is a huge milestone. It means a lot to me, guys. Spread it out. Spread the word to all your friends and tell them to come sub. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Absolutely, guys. And we'll see you next week for episode 9, where we'll be recapping UFC 288. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you then.